All right, this is a follow-up to the pre-video that had the description of what a linear inequality was and how to write the final answers. So what we're going to be doing in this video is just working through solving some inequalities. And we'll be expressing all of our solutions in interval notation whenever possible. So let's look at this very first one here. The goal is still to get x by itself on one side because this looks like it has just one inequality in it. And we have to remember that pretty much we can do everything we normally would do to an inequality, except that if we multiply or divide by a negative, it flips the direction of the inequality. So the first thing I would probably do is I would clear out all of the fractions by multiplying by an LCD of 12. So 12 divided by 4 would be 3x. 12 times 7, because it does have to distribute to everything, would be positive 84, less than or equal to. 12 divided by 3 would be 4x. And 12 times negative 2 would be negative 24. Now, typically, we used to always move things to, to whatever side would keep the x positive, but I usually typically write my inequalities with the x on the left, just so that I don't have to worry about the reading of that correctly at the end. So I'm going to subtract over the 4x. So that would make this negative x plus 84 is less than or equal to negative 24. I'll subtract over the 84. So this is now negative x is less than or equal to negative 108. And we would divide by a negative 1, which means that's going to flip that to greater than or equal to, and it's going to divide and make that a positive. So this is my answer. Now they said write it in interval notation. So this says I'm 108 or larger. So that would mean our starting for our interval notation is 108 with the bracket because of the equal to bar. And we are shading all the way up to or including all the numbers to positive infinity. Let's talk about how B is a little bit different setup. There are two different inequality systems here. This is actually a compound inequality. And your goal here is to get x by itself in the middle. So I'm going to multiply everything by 3 to clear out that fraction there first. And I have to do that to all three parts. So this would be negative 6. The 3's here would cancel, so that's just going to be 4x plus 1, and then less than or equal to 0. I'm going to subtract 1 from all the sides. And then we divide everything by 4. So this is negative 7/4 is less than x is less than or equal to negative 1/4. Now when you get a compound inequality with x in the middle, this is your starting value, this is your ending value. You're shading everything in between. So because there's no equal to on this one, this will be parentheses negative 7/4, comma up to negative 1/4 with a bracket. Okay, let's do C. Similar idea, we're going to multiply everything by 3 first. So this would be 15 is greater than or equal to 6 minus 5x greater than 6. We're going to subtract 6 from all the sides. So that'll be 9 greater than or equal to negative 5x greater than 0 when we subtract 6. We're going to divide everything by negative 5. Now because we're dividing by a negative, that flips both of these directions. So this would be negative 9/5 less than or equal to x less than 0. So this is negative 9/5 with a bracket up to 0 with a parentheses. Remember, you only use the bracket when you have the equal to. Okay, let's talk about this next one. We're going to multiply everything in the whole equation by 4. Or another way to approach this one, because some people will not distribute that to the 3 correctly in the middle, you could subtract everything by 3 first, and I think I'll do that. So if I subtract 3 from the middle and from the left and from the right, we're left with this. Then we can multiply everything by 4. So this would be negative 20 is less than x is less than or equal to 8. And notice I did not multiply through by a negative, so that doesn't flip any of my inequalities. So this is negative 20 up to positive 8. And the final example on this little video, this is, looks like we need to FOIL some stuff out. This would be x squared plus 3x minus 3x minus 9. Remember, this is x plus 5 times x plus 5. So that's x squared plus 5x plus 5x plus 25. Combining like terms, on this side everything in the middle cancels, and this side we get a 10x in the middle. Notice the x squareds would cancel, so if you go to move them, they're going to completely cancel out. So this is just negative 10 is greater than or equal to 10x, or negative 9 is greater than or equal to 10x plus 25. I would subtract my 25 over, so that makes this negative 34 is greater than or equal to 10x. Divide by 10. So that reduces to negative 17 over 5. Now notice this has x on the right side. That is always harder to write in interval notation, so sometimes it's better just to flip both sides. But if you do that, you have to make sure this is still pointing to the correct variable. So it's going to be pointing to the x. So this would be negative infinity up to negative 17 over 5. With the negative 17 over 5 has the equal to. You never use an equal to or a bracket with infinity because you cannot actually reach infinity. So that's all the examples for the linear inequality portion.